are you feeling?
Good. Yeah. Good. Excited. I like being here. I like being through the whole process.
So I was watching an interview when you had your first match and you got the title. You said in an interview before that you felt like you were already the champ and that this was going to be a title defense. Now that you actually have your first title defense coming up, do you still feel the same or does it feel a little bit different?
Yeah, absolutely. I still feel exactly the same. I've said before, like on this UFC platform, I before it even became UFC BJJ, back when it was the FPI, I had a match against a guy named Pedro Murillo. He was the number one ranked 205 pounder in the world, and he was the champion of Who's Number One, which is like the UFC BJJ, one of their like big rivals. And I was able to submit him. And so I feel like ever since then, I've been, I've had claim to the title of the best 205er on the planet. And so now that I have the belt, it just feels like something that I earned a long time ago.
Going into this, the first person that you called out was Pedro Machado. Back in the day at Worlds, he did beat you. How long have you been waiting for this redemption arc? And how excited are you to finally get this shot?
Yeah, it's been like 3 or 4 years in the making. It's something that I've thought about a lot. And I saw him competing on UFC BJJ 1, and I saw him competing in my weight class. And as soon as I saw that match, I knew that one day I would be able to get a rematch as long as he was able to win. And he won, so here we are.
And is there anything from that match back in the day that's influencing how you've prepped for this one, or are you going into it completely fresh?
I'm going in completely fresh. He was able to catch me in a submission very early. Mm-hmm. So, of course, I know not to use the same game plan that I used before, but it's going to be completely different because the last match was also in the gi, and now it's no gi. And one big difference is that I always pull guard in the gi, and that's how he was able to catch the submission, and I'm not planning on pulling guard. So I think that it'll be a completely different match.
In your last one, you finished it pretty quickly. Going in, are you trying to plan the same type of quickness, or are you planning for more of a long game?
But we don't get paid overtime, so try to get in and get out and get my check. That's it.
I was watching a few interviews you've done, and you've talked a few times about with UFC BJJ how much positive marketing that you've gotten and you've been able to use since you've joined. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how that's helped you.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, like having any type of belt is always a good thing. So the fact that I'm able to market myself now as the UFC BJJ champion, it just helps a lot with sponsors. And a big part of our income as jiu-jitsu athletes is traveling and teaching seminars. And I did notice definitely a big uptick in seminar bookings and seminar attendance as soon as I was able to win the title.
Same interview I was listening to that, you were talking to Bruce Buffer and you said that you were a bit of an MMA nerd. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I have 2 questions that I do normally like to ask people. First, okay. Favorite fighter of all time and favorite fight of all time?
Okay, favorite fighter of all time is easy. That's Anderson Silva. He was like my main inspiration. I was watching him on Spike TV when I was like 15 years old. So watching Anderson is the main inspiration that got me to start training MMA and then eventually go into jiu-jitsu. Favorite fight of all time? Yeah, that's a tough one. There's a couple.
If it's a few, you can name like 2. If it's too hard, just do 1.
Okay, I'm going to name 2. I'm going to say Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway 2, the one that was for the interim title. And then I'm going to say, what was the other one? I'm going to say Robbie Lawler versus
Rory McDonald.
Rory McDonald. Yeah, Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald. That's my other one.
That's a classic. Those are both really good picks.
Yeah.
I like to ask everybody that because I feel like I gauge people. I'm like, okay, what is your favorite fight? I compare it to mine.
Oh, there's one more. There's one more. Conor versus Nate Diaz too. That was such a good fight.
That was a really good one. I think I posted on Instagram. I was like, if anybody could go back in time to a fight, and Andrew Tackett said that was the fight he would go back in time to see live.
That was such a good one.
You were there this past weekend, right?
Yeah.
The fights. How was that?
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, I think it's now the 4th time that I've been to the UFC fights as like a guest of the UFC. And yeah, it's great. It's cool. Like, being able to kind of like go in through the back door and getting real close to the cage and doing interviews and stuff like that. It's amazing. It's such a great experience.
Were you pulling for Max Holloway or Charles Oliveira?
I picked Max Holloway. Max Holloway is probably right now, currently probably my favorite fighter. And yeah, so I was pulling for him, even though I love Charles as well. I'm not like a Charles Oliveira hater, and I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, so I should be going for the jiu-jitsu guy, right? But I just love Max Holloway. He's been one of my favorite fighters for like the past 10 years.
I mean, you can't not love him. That was the double-edged sword of the fight. There was not one of them that you could think of something bad for. I mean, I'm the biggest Charles Oliveira fan ever, so I had to, but there was
a draw would have been nice, right? A draw.
I know.
And now there's going to be a big fight. Like they might do Connor versus Charles Oliveira for the BMF title. That would
You
be
know,
big.
now that I mean, I'm going to ask you this now that you're here. Do you actually think Connor will ever come back?
I think he will for the right opportunity, and I think fighting Charles Oliveira for the BMF title might be the right opportunity.
I'm going to save this because if that does happen, this is going to be the greatest reel ever if I can clip it. And you predicted that before it
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, clearly. That's what I think is going to happen next.
We are at a point where it's kind of interesting. So many MMA fans are tuning in for the first time to jiu-jitsu, especially with UFC BJJ. What is one thing that you wish MMA fans knew, especially the anti-grappling crowd, knew about jiu-jitsu and you think might pull them in a little bit?
Yeah, it's hard because I feel like you need to train to really appreciate it. It's going to be hard to really appreciate what the guys are doing in the grappling if you don't train yourself. So, and a lot of MMA fans do train,
Mhm.
but for the ones that don't, go and do a free trial at a jiu-jitsu gym. You're probably going to love it. You already like watching MMA, and you'll be able to understand the grappling a lot more.
Next questions I have are more fun rapid fire ones to kind of get people who are watching first to know you a little bit better. We all know watching your last match that you're not afraid to show a little bit of affection. I'm curious, are you planning any forehead kisses for Pedro coming up?
I got to see that forehead up close and personal and see if sometimes the light just glimmers off it in the right way, and it just makes me want to give it a little taste.
It's spur of the moment, just when you feel that passion.
I have to feel the passion. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Hopefully. I mean, that got a lot of views last time, I feel like.
Yeah, no.
That
Yeah,
was
we got to try to clip farm a little bit.
one thing that you can't travel without.
The George Foreman grill. I got the George Foreman grill up in the hotel room. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and then I DoorDash steaks, ribeyes to my hotel, and then I cook the steaks in the room
Ooh, that's
because I like to
actually
eat steak. Yeah, but if you go out to eat a steak for every meal, that's $150 a day. But if you just bring the George Foreman, you can just make steaks in your room all day.
they should probably contact you to be a sponsor, I feel like. I feel
Yeah,
like
that would be sick.
they really
Or we could just make my own grill, the Mason Fowler grill.
I'd buy it. If you could be a pro at any sport besides jiu-jitsu, what sport are you picking?
Gaming.
Gaming.
Yeah, for sure. Because they make a lot of money. The streamers and stuff that play video games all day, they make a lot of money, and it's not taxing on your body. Because
Is there
most
like
athletes
specific games that you would want?
before it was Call of Duty, but now we're everyone's playing Arc Raiders.
Do you have any superstitions or rituals?
Maybe when I was younger, but right now not so much. Now that I'm more experienced and stuff like that, I don't let little things get to me as much. But maybe when I was younger, nothing right now that I can think of.
What is one thing that fans would be surprised to know about you?
Fans would probably be pretty surprised to know that I like pretty much just sit at home and play video games all day. That's it. I do jiu-jitsu and I play video games. That's it. Big time gamer, yeah.
What is your favorite game?
Right now we're just running Arc Raiders. Yeah, it's a new game that everyone's playing. Putting in about probably 8 hours a day on that. Yeah, I got my gaming set up in the hotel room too.
That's how I am with reading. I can read for like 8 hours a day easily. The only game I can play is Mario Kart.
That's probably better for your brain to read instead of like frying your dopamine playing video games all day.
I mean, I'm not reading the dictionary. I'm reading fantasy books, so I feel like we might be on the same level.
It makes me feel better.
That was all I had for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, great interview.
All right, good luck this week.